Hi, I'm Christy Rost. I've always been passionate about entertaining. There's nothing quite like saying, come to dinner, and gathering friends and family around the table. Fresh local ingredients, good wine, candlelight, and a menu that impresses but goes together easily. Those are my secrets to being a good host. Today, I'm going to share some of my guests' favorite recipes from my Swan's Nest kitchen. An impressive entree that guests absolutely adore is Alaskan halibut. And these are 1.5 pounds per fillet. So this is some pretty impressive fish here. This is a really easy way to prepare fish. Halibut or any other kind. Salmon works beautifully with this preparation. So what you do is you melt some butter and a little bit of olive oil in a roasting pan, and just put that in the oven at 400 degrees. Only takes a very couple of minutes. Bring it out, and then you just prepare the fish, and it goes back in the oven to bake, and you're set. So I've got this gorgeous Viking casserole dish. And really cool, not only does it roast here, but this can be a small roaster, and it also is a beautiful serving piece. So let's put in a 1/2 cup of butter. Now, if you're doing smaller fish, you won't need as much butter, but I'm preparing enough to serve probably about 6 people. And so I'm adding a little more butter than I normally would, but company is worth it. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of olive oil. I've preheated the oven to 400 degrees, a little bit of olive oil here. And then pop this in the oven. It'll probably melt the butter in about 3 minutes. Bring it back out, and then we'll do the fish. So the butter has melted, and I can proceed with the rest of the recipe. And you're gonna love this recipe because it really only takes minutes to do. So I just cut a lemon in half. I like to use the squeezer. I'm going to add a nice amount of lemon juice. And if I'm just doing fish for just Randy and myself, then I don't need as much lemon, as much butter, as much anything, because it's just for 2. But this is going to serve 6 people, so I need to make sure I have plenty of wine sauce. So I add that. I'm going to season my fish with some salt seasons. This is the pink Himalayan salt, which is so pretty. I really like that. Season that well. And then I'm going to add a little bit of pepper here. I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of paprika for color, real lightly. And then I also want to add in to my sauce some sherry. Now you can use white wine. White wine is lovely in this dish, but when I use dry sherry, it adds a little bit of a nutty flavor to this. So I add, that's probably about 1/4 cup to that amount. If I'm doing just for 2, probably I put in about 2 tablespoons, or if I'm feeling really good, I might put in 3. And then I just take this, mix it together, just swirl the pan like that. Then take my fish, turn it upside down. In other words, right side down, and I have the skin side up for the moment. Then I'm going to turn it back over. So then I will do the same here. Turn it so that I have the right side down. Get it well bathed. Turn it back up. And then I put on the lid. Put it back in the oven, and this is going to bake for about 30 minutes. Let me wash my hands. I want to tell you about the halibut I caught. So earlier this year, Randy and I went to Alaska. We went up the West Coast on a cruise ship. It was glorious, it really was. Went up to Alaska, and in Ketchikan, we decided for our excursion, we were going to go on a fishing boat and go king salmon fishing. So we did. We had Captain Bill, And there were only 3 of us on the boat with Captain Bill. So we each had our own station. It was a little bit choppy that day. It was the only day it didn't rain the whole time and on our cruise. And so I was standing against the side of his boat and just kind of rocking against the side of the boat as he had all my beautiful line out there and everything. And everyone's trying to catch king salmon. And in fact, you have to have a license to fish for king salmon. Randy caught a king salmon and it was exciting. And I was there taking photos and taking video and all, and everyone was going, oh, wow. And he caught this king salmon and it was about like this. It was beautiful. It was so pretty. I hadn't caught anything yet, but I didn't really care because I was looking at whales. There was a mom and baby whale together. We saw bald eagles. The water was pretty, all the homes along the sides, the harbor. It was all lovely. And then all of a sudden I felt a tug. And I could see my line going and really going, and Captain Bill's going, get it, get it. So I started to reel in. He's going, reel in, but slowly, slowly. So I'm reeling in slowly. I'm so excited, I want to just bring the thing in. And instead, I bring it up, and all of a sudden Captain Bill goes, oh my gosh, she's caught a halibut. Well, who knew that at the depth we were fishing, that halibut aren't usually up that high. They're usually way near the bottom. And we were still in we hadn't gotten out into the ocean. We were in the bay. And so Captain Bill was going, this never happens. And I said, so you mean this lady from Texas and Colorado caught something that most people don't catch? He said, wait till I tell all the other boat captains. So he gave me this huge hug, and I realized at that point that I'd done something really special. I caught a halibut. So when I am going to serve this halibut tonight to our guests, they are going to hear this story. And of course, I'm going to tell them, oh yeah, this is my halibut. So let's put this in the oven. It should take about 30 minutes. It'll be ready to serve. A side dish that impresses but is super easy to make is the green beans with roasted garlic and toasted almonds. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm preheating my pan. This is an Analon X skillet, and I add a little bit of olive oil to this. And then I've already steamed some fresh green beans. And I steam them until they're still very much crisp tender. I'm going to add them in to this pan. Just transfer them all. And you can do these ahead if you like. There's nothing worse than having to run around at the last minute when you have guests coming. So you can steam them ahead and then just transfer them to something so they don't keep steaming. But in this case, I just did them right now. And a lot of times your guests really like to see the action in the kitchen. That's part of the entertainment. So if you leave a recipe like this toward the end, then they get to watch and while they're sipping their wine and everybody's chatting. And that's kind of fun too. I always find people want to be in the kitchen with me anyway, even if I have everything set up in a different room. So you might as well just have something left to do. So I put these in, and then the thing that makes them really, really nice is the roasted garlic. And I took a whole head of garlic, like this, and sprinkled it with about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Then I roasted it in the oven at about 350 degrees for probably about 45, 50 minutes. And then just take out the cloves like this and squeeze that roasted garlic right there onto the beans. This is incredible flavor. And the aroma, of course, is going to capture everybody right away. Ooh, look at that. Look, see how it's all nice and roasted there? Love that. And if you have extra, let's say you're not making a ton of beans, you're just making dinner for 4, then you can use the extra roasted garlic and put that out for people for bread. Ooh, there we go. Let's do that and take that piece out. And we'll add one more. So it's kind of fun to have fresh roasted garlic like this for bread. You could also mix some in with soft butter, and then you have a beautiful, fresh garlic butter. I'm gonna wash my fingers off, and you can hear the sizzle. It's just, you know, going to town here. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more of olive oil. There we go. A little bit of pepper. And some of the Salt Seasons pink Himalayan sea salt. Then toss. And this garlic flavor is just going to get everywhere in every single bean. This kind of thing that people like. They like to watch this because then they see the drama, they smell it, their mouths start watering, and they're really glad you said, come to dinner. So this only takes a very few minutes, and that's why I always steam the beans ahead of time, because then this is a final 2-minute process, and then you're ready to serve them. Oh, this is gorgeous. All righty, so I can actually turn this off now. These are cooked through, they're hot. The garlic is permeating everything. Now I have a pretty casserole dish to transfer them. Oh, the aroma is pretty incredible here. Look at that, isn't that pretty? I like to have my beans all kind of going the same direction rather than all haphazard. It just looks nicer. And you put them on a platter, you can put them in a casserole dish. If you're waiting for the fish to finish, then casserole dish is kind of nice. And that's another reason not to overcook these, because they're going to sit here and steam for another couple minutes until everything's ready to serve. Well, let's get the rest of this garlic out of here. Don't want to miss that. There we go. And then I took some sliced almonds and I toasted these. Now, some people like to do them in a skillet. I find that putting in the oven works really well for me. 300 degrees for about 5 or 6 minutes, just until you can start to smell them getting a little bit brown. Then just shake the tray a little bit if you need them to brown just 1 more minute or 2, and then pull them out of the oven and transfer them immediately to a platter or plate to cool, so they don't keep toasting on the tray and get overdone. So there you are. Those are the green beans with roasted garlic and toasted almonds. No matter how special the dinner is, no matter how fabulous the entree, sometimes guests don't remember exactly what they had for dinner, but they always remember if you create a showstopper dessert. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. This is a peach flambé with vanilla bourbon sauce. So I have melted a ½ cup of butter in here. This is unsalted butter. I'm adding in a ½ cup of brown sugar. I'm just gonna melt this. Now, one of the special features of this dessert is the bourbon sauce. And I want to flambe it. So we're gonna try and set it alight. And one of the best ways to ensure that it will light up for you is to warm your bourbon first, or any spirit that you're going to use. The aromas and the alcohol as it evaporates, that is what catches on that flame. So we're going to just melt this briefly. I'm going to add in a vanilla bean. The vanilla bean adds a whole new flavor dimension to this dessert. And then I have about 4 Colorado peaches. So pretty. They're real juicy. And I'm going to saute these just until they soften. And I left the skin on. Don't bother trying to take the skin off. Number 1, you get more nutrition if you've got the skin. And number 2, it just saves you a whole lot of time and effort. So leave it on, and it looks so pretty. You know, you've got the color of that beautiful red skin on there and the pretty flesh inside. So leave it in there. And see, this is getting nice and thick. Now you can use, if you're making this for 2, use less butter. Maybe keep the same amount of bourbon, a little bit less of the brown sugar. Just kind of gauge it. This is one of those recipes that you can increase or decrease in the amount, depending on what your needs are. It also works beautifully in the wintertime with pears. The pears, just know that you will not need to saute them nearly as long. They're pretty fragile. Isn't that pretty? Oh, beautiful. So we just saute these for a few moments. I'm going to turn up my heat just a bit. And then, let's see what happens. Now, what I found is if you pour your spirits on one side, rather than pour over the whole thing, pour it on one side. I'm using my pretty analog cookware here today. And let's see if it catches fire. Come on, let's do it. And will it or will it not flambe today? Come on. There we go. Ah, what a bummer. It didn't flambe today. You know, the flavor's there. This just goes to show, if it doesn't work, no one's gonna know. Only you know. So we're just gonna keep it just the way it is. I'm not gonna try it again because I've got so much flavor. Oh gosh, I can really smell the alcohol in here. So now this is peaches not flambéed, and that's all right too. I have all the beautiful flavor. I have the peaches. I have the brown sugar. It's sweet, and it's ready. So I'm going to serve this over vanilla ice cream. So we'll do that. And then dinner's ready. I'm serving tonight's dinner with a Michael David Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc is lovely with fish because it's crisp and refreshing, and the fish is creamy, and so that makes a really balanced pairing. Thanks for joining me today on At Home with Christy Rost, where great food, beautiful wines, and hospitality are a tradition. I'd love to hear from you, so please connect with me on my Instagram or Facebook pages. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, Salt Seasons and Little Bear Honey, and our good friends at Viking Culinary, Analon, Melissa's Produce, and Michael David Winery, and Alaska Seafood. See you next time.